What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the best meta hero valued players you can physically get in FIFA 23. So we're going to go through the three sets of them. We have normal heroes that are still viable in the game. We have World Cup, and we also have the brand new FUT Fantasy heroes. So to start us off, we've gone with Marquisio, and to be honest, slightly now just coming to the absolute pinnacle now. 207,000 coins. I still think he can do a good job. He definitely is now starting to, like I say, get to the point where I think personally you can get better options. But in terms of a hero, the 3-star chemistry is always going to come in real hand, with obviously the fact that you don't have to have any Serie A players. So it's a really good thing to have with heroes. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast and reliable, but at the checkout make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. And then with the high right footed, he is obviously a centre mid CDM, can be left mid, but I've not really seen a point in him going there. Stat wise, like most centre mids, you are very well balanced, which is the kind of perfect aspect of him. The fact that he's only 200k as well, very good value if you are struggling with a centre mid or don't necessarily have any that you've packed already. I think he most definitely is an option that you can go for. If then we look at the next hero, it's going to be Yaya Toure. Very much in-game kind of presence, 6'2", great DM that can bring the ball forward. Again, has a better version, but this version will still give you a very, very good shout in the game. Now coming in at 470, and I think nostalgic vibes for any Man City fans or Barca fans for the Yaya Toure. I was kind of hoping he was going to be an icon, but a hero nonetheless is fantastic. And if we do get a FUT Fantasy, this is going to be a great card. The pace-wise, I think with the stats, especially of this hero, don't look necessarily absolutely incredible, but in-game, he has always been phenomenal. We then go into Di Natale, who again is another great player. As a Serie A striker, one of the best from release, and to be honest, still holds up a great record going forward. I was kind of hoping we would see him as a FUT Fantasy at some point, but we do have a team too that has a potential, I believe, to get more, but we haven't had any more leaks yet. Great pace, great finishing. His passing's not terrible for a striker, and he also has some really good dribbling as well. This guy is coming in at 250, which in terms of strikers, I'd absolutely take. Gets the free chemistry on his own, finesse, flair, outside of the foot and team player. He is a must, an absolute must. We then go into Lucio, who, to be honest, you could always argue with Lucio. He's still coming in at 670, which is absolutely incredible for a centre-back. Most definitely well worth the price if you're looking at him. Obviously, again, he has a World Cup also, but this guy in-game is still phenomenal. We see it with Maldini. People are using his base still, and if you've got the choice between base, mid and prime, obviously you're going for the prime, but we still see that the base is very relevant. It's the same with Lucio. You'd always want the World Cup, but most definitely, if you can go for the base, it's still very viable. Then finally, in the normal hero version, we have Ginola. Incredible card, still coming in at 1.4 mil, which just tells you from what the heroes came from at the very start of the game all the way to now, he's still holding a very, very profitable price. A 5-star, just got himself a new upgrade, which we'll talk about later, but this card is stunning. Still very good on that left mid. Can obviously be cam, left wing and striker also, which again just holds so much value for him. We then move on to some of the World Cups, and most definitely Voler has to be in there. Honestly, I was very close to putting his base in, but I do think that one now is not necessarily the favoured option. He's still okay, but the World Cup is one that you definitely want to go to. Unfortunately, doesn't have that 4-star skills, which would have made this card 10 times better just with that extra little stat, because the pace is brilliant, the shooting's fantastic, good amount of dribbling. Obviously the balance could do with an upgrade, but we can do that with the engine, and he does have some head and accuracy as well as good physicals. Finesse, shot and power header as the two traits, and just another great card that is coming in, I think, at 775,000 coins. So a little bit on the higher side of price, but definitely a good striker if you wanted him. We then have Diego Forlan, the 4-star, high work rate. Again, a cracking card. I feel like the World Cup heroes did have a very good selection of strikers, which is exactly what you want. You want to have them options which Obviously, like I say, they get the 3-star chem for them, so you don't even have to link them if you don't want to. But in terms of price, we're looking at about $550 for him. No traits, unfortunately, and no step up for an upgrade either, so we'll see how this card goes. But again, another cracking striker. We then move on to another one, little bit on the lower side in terms of my opinion for Brolin. He was very nice to start with, and I do think he's slightly slipping away a little bit. We could potentially again see another upgrade in the near future, which would be perfect for him, as I do think he could definitely do with that extra stat, or at least a double upgrade if we could. But in terms of the stats, what we've got in front of us, they're not terrible. They're most definitely not the worst in the world. He's coming in at 460 still, which again, with a lot of these heroes, they are still very good pricing. If you compare them to a lot of the players we are getting naturally, there's very few that stick around that price as well. Especially with all of the Hero and World Cup SBCs we've had, you're very unlikely to find a striker that sits at 450 with multiple chances to get him after he's out of packs. We then go on to Capdevia. Don't know why it's put the Helone in there, but we do actually have this card, and he is incredible. What a left back. I wasn't too much of a fan of the base, even though it's only a 2 rating lower. I feel like Ferland Mendy, Theo, Alfonso, they all do that job. Personally, for me, this one is coming in at the topper end. Again, we do have a better version now, but still, this World Cup is incredible. He's now coming in at 800,000 coins, which is a monstrous price for a left back, but you can see why. Pace-wise, fantastic. We do have the 4-star, 3-star. Some shot power if you really wanted to. Passing's good. Dribbling is okay. Got great defensive stats. Physicals could do with the upgrade with the anchor, and just an all-round very, very solid left back. Then we have Alwarin. Took the game by storm. This guy's coming in at a whopping 860 still, and he is phenomenal. Incredibly quick, great finishing on him once you had a chem style, a 4-4 left-footed, obviously plays more as a striker than a cam. You can argue right wing, but a striker has always been the position, and I don't know what it is, why he got the 99 pace, but he is so quick, it's ridiculous. We've already got nice dribbling. The shooting with a chemistry style gets maxed out. Obviously no real kind of physical presence, but the quickness on him is just immense. Especially now having a double value, the fact that he does get a Ronaldo link as well, purely from being in the Saudi League, is just an extra little perk and will come into fruition with obviously the team of the season in Saudi, because we know full well EA are going to give him one. Next up is Smolarek. Brilliant card this is. Very much like Valère. Unfortunately does have the 3-star, 4-star. Could do with that upgrade now. But this guy is just impeccable in front of goal. Very quick. Great shooting. The agility side of him is incredible. The left stick is amazing for him. As well as good composure and decent strength and aggression. We don't have any traits, unfortunately, but this card is definitely one to look at. He's currently coming in at 460 like Brolin. Would put him up there as a cheaper value option if you are looking for a striker. He has just been absolutely immense. We used his base card and it was okay, but this was the upgrade that definitely sent him into at least a top 50 striker for me. Then we have Govu, another striker in the game. He is cam, but officially he is normally a striker. 90 pace, 90 shooting, good dribbling. Most of them, if you do look at them throughout, they have very similar. Great pace, great shooting. Dribbling can be either very good or good, and then the physicals are just that extra bonus. Obviously, with Govu, he does have the team player and outside of the foot trait, and he is in the Ligue 1 French, which just gets you them extra links if you haven't necessarily got a full Ligue 1 team. Maybe you've just got an Mbappe and, say, a Messi. He will obviously do the rest for you. So I think a great card if you are looking for another striker. Then we have the next Marquisio, which again is a nice upgrade from his normal Heroes version, and again is slowly coming into the point where he would need an upgrade to really get himself up there. The dynamics for all the World Cups was really anticipated and very nice going forward. But in terms of this card's stats, again, very similar. All the way through, 80 pluses, cannot argue with him. In terms of a solid, consistent centre mid, he's got everything that ticks all the boxes. We then have Okocha at the 5-star, 4-star. Wasn't a massive fan to start with personally. Thought he was okay, but really didn't see the hype with him. We then used him a few more times as we went through with drafts, with obviously loans, and most definitely really changed his perception of me. I feel like the review I did on him personally was against people that wasn't necessarily in my bracket, they were a little bit higher. So I probably didn't get the most out of him at the first few games, but definitely as we went forward, dribbling wise was good, pace with the acceleration was nice, and obviously with a chem style, you're gonna get that finishing up as well. Plus, the 5-star skills is always fun in any game. Then we have Yaya Toure. Again, very little to say about him other than he's an absolute giant. Incredible in that midfield, and if you've got him, you're using him. There's just no two ways about it. Unless you have like a midfield of Hullet, Vieira, Matthias, probably Zidane, you're just not replacing him with anybody. He is incredible in game. And like I say, in terms of stats, really when we look at it, there isn't anything that stands out. Yes, he's 6'2", he's got the 4'4", which is always nice. Passing-wise is good, composure's good, but there's really not too much of this card where I'm thinking, you know what, this, if I was an outlooker and didn't really know anything about FIFA, he wouldn't necessarily be my first shout in who's going to be the best midfielder. And most definitely, he is that good. Then we have Lucio. Again, very similar to his base. Incredible for a player. In terms of a centre-back, there's been very few that have made themselves in that top 5. He's done it. He's arguably one of the better ones. Whether some people do rate him more than Maldini, personally Maldini are the number 1, but Lucio most definitely is coming in, I'd say at the moment at least top 2, top 3, but there is questions on what you actually want from your team and in terms of your centre-backs. Then we move on to some of the fantasy foot heroes, and honestly these were an incredible addition to the hero franchise so far. Harry Kewell definitely coming in as a better left wing than we've seen from most, and a big thing with these is not necessarily to have a look at their price, especially right now, because obviously with the fantasy foots, they have been able to have upgrades. So at the minute, they are coming in at a very, very inflatable price, but the moment they lose that chance for the second upgrade and only have one upgrade available. Harry Kewell, though, from the base, an incredible card, great pace, good shooting, passing's great, obviously the dribbling's good, has a nice injury-prone trait on him, as well as the outside of the foot, and then obviously the 4-star. With the upgrade, he's just going to get better and better. We then have Al Jabba, and honestly, I wouldn't be saying this about many. Yes, he's not necessarily going to be number 1 striker in the game. We know that. But in terms of the price, it's not bad. One team, you get an 89, and plus, the big factor with this card for me is obviously he can have the double upgrade, but this card is technically in SBC for 82 days at this moment in time. Whether they change it is debatable, but that means we can actually see if he's going to be upgraded before we actually finish him. I don't know if that's a mistake or they're actually going to rectify that, but if they keep it like that, that is a great SBC. It's one SBC to complete, an 89 rated card with great pace, another link to Al-Warren if you wanted to add the links together in terms of them just being teammates rather than necessarily actually being chemistry links, but also another link to Ronaldo. Al Jabba, Al-Warren, Ronaldo, all Saudi players that really can work together and give themselves a nice upgrade. So I think he's definitely a look at the fact that you can actually get an upgrade from him. We then have Cordoba, who looks absolutely stunning. Great pace, great defending. The physicals are nice, with the chance of a double upgrade to a 90 if, obviously, he does well in his team, or his team do well, because he's clearly not playing. Inter Milan need to step it out for him, because he is definitely in, I'd say at least at the minimum, top 10 defenders in the game, and is a beautiful price of 1.2 mil. We then move on to Abide Pele, a new upgrade for him. I do think his normal hero card is okay now, but I definitely think if you are looking for any, I would 100% recommend you to the Foot Fantasy if you could. A 4-star Ghanaian cam in obviously Ligue 1, incredible stats, pace is brilliant, got the dribbling, got the passing. Obviously, the shooter needs a chemistry style, but in general, a wonderful card. The left stick is absolutely stunning for him, and he has a wonderful left foot when going through on goal. We've done a review on him already, and most definitely looks insane to get if you could get any hero. We then have the penultimate one in Capdevia. This card is a must for me. A, because we can then use fodder for the World Cup Capdevia, but incredible. 89 rated. He's took a double upgrade to obviously his now new rating and just gets better and better. I personally think he's top one left back in the game. You've always got the argument between a Ferland Mendy, a Team of the Year Theo Hernandez, and then a Roberto Carlos. Maybe you throw in Team of the Year Ashley Cole there, but personally I don't think he has much play with the other three mentioned. But Capdevila is always stunning. A very, very good card, coming in at 1.5 mil, which again is what you're going to pay for the fact that he has at the moment a potential of 91, but more realistically a 90 rated in the game. And finally, Ginola. 11.15 mil now actually. He's dropped 1 million coins already, but what a card. A 91 striker prem. Reminds me very much of the shapeshifter last year. Obviously not 98, but we may see that later on in the game, which would be incredible. But this card is a joke. He is just incredible. He plays, or technically is for Newcastle in this version, so there is normally, or at least should be, a chance, a very good chance at a 92 at the minimum. Whether we get the 93 is very unlikely, but I think that is the most for all of the heroes, and obviously any FUT fantasies as well. But this card is number one on my list, if you could ever pay for him. But that's going to be the rest of the team. Let me know down below if there's any players you want to see in this hero list. But other than that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.